Warning, this podcast contains absolutely no kryptonite.
That's a lie.
That we know of.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Big Hero 6. Just kidding. Supergirl! Season 1, Episode 1, Pilot. Such an original name. I'm your host, Dom.
Yeah.
With me, my co-host, Cleo.
No.
And Erica.
Well, I do have kryptonite hand cream, if that counts.
Oh.
You do?
Don't bring any of that near Kara at all.
Don't.
Kara, sorry, Kara.
It's Kara.
It's Kara.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Only her boss.
Kara
knows.
was
Yeah,
her
okay, it's her
jackass
boss.
folder.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, first impressions.
Really fucking good.
Yeah.
Now,
See,
I just want to preface that this show was originally supposed to be on the CW. And the president of CW just the other day, I was reading an interview, said the reason the show is not on the CW is because when this was pitched to them, they hadn't even launched Flash yet. It hadn't even started.
Oh.
So they felt it was too much to take on, and now looking back in retrospect, they feel like they shouldn't have passed on it, and it was a huge mistake, and they said, unfortunately, big shows like this do happen to slip through their fingers. So keep that in mind. But yes.
it kind of makes sense that it would have been on CW because it's the same production and editing crew on Flash as it is Supergirl.
Not just Flash, Arrow as well.
It's literally I don't know if they're all connected universe or whatever, but it's the same people making the show. And yeah, so
Yeah. So keep that in mind. Also, to preface before we start going into details and stuff, yes, this is the same universe as Flash and Arrow. However, we will not be seeing any crossovers whatsoever this season. This season is going to stand on its own. Yes, the show is on two different networks, but actually the networks are indirectly owned by each other. Like,
right.
they are tied. The companies are actually tied. So it is 100%
Because-
possible, feasible, and probably going to happen. So just keep that in mind, just not yet.
Warner Brothers owns 50% of CW,
Yep.
and CBS owns 50% of CW.
Yep.
Because of the because the UPN and the Warner Brothers network merge.
Yes.
So that's how we can get past all the legal loopholes that most everybody runs into.
Yes. So expect it, and they said that as far as we're going to see is cross-promotional stuff. So they said expect to see commercials. So expect to see Flash and Arrow commercials during Supergirl, and vice versa. So
Already seen him.
yeah, exactly. So okay, so getting into this.
Now, if we're going to go by first impressions,
Yep.
then we really have to say that this show actually released back in the summer,
It did.
like 3 months ago.
It did. There was a like they you know how they shop it, you know, they release the pilot and they're like they show it to the network, they show it, you know, it's the pilot that they showed around, they shopped to networks. That ended up getting leaked this summer.
Yeah, I watched the commentary, the directors and everybody talking about the show, and they kind of confirmed that it's not an official leak, but it was more like no channels wanted to pick up the show, so it just kind of made its way online, and then like the hype got so big that CBS picked it up.
Yeah. Yep.
But
So
they weren't really saying, yeah, we put that online, but they put it online.
Yeah, which is really good because I watched the pilot this summer when that leaked. I did watch that, and I watched this again, and they are pretty much identical, like shot for shot. They're as far I didn't compare them side by side, whatever, but from what I recall from watching this summer, they didn't leave anything out. They didn't add anything extra. I wasn't sure about the very ending, but Erica did confirm that was in the summer. But what I did notice is some of the special effects were touched up. So that was really all the difference between the two. So getting into this though, so what did you guys think of the story that we set up with, Kara following Kal-El and was supposed to be Clark or Superman, however you want to call him, his guardian, and it kind of turned out to be the opposite way around. It's kind of a cool take on that, I thought. What did you guys think of it?
I
like the idea. It was more of like, Superman is such an omnipresent identity and such a huge thing. How can you have a Supergirl show without Superman overshadowing it? Mm-hmm. And it's more like, well, it just never happened, so to speak. Mm-hmm. She came several years later, which I think is the same way in the comic books. Mm-hmm. And she just became her own person because she didn't want to do the superhero thing. And since he was already grown up and the savior of the Earth, then she didn't have to.
Right. And that is the one part about this show that I really, 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 and I cannot add enough reallys in front of that, that I'm glad that Superman is already established and in this universe.
Yes.
Right.
However, I find it problematic that something as big as Superman exists in this world, and we've never heard a peep about it on Flash or Arrow. I find that problematic.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of explained that by saying that they want each show to be about the title character. They want Supergirl to be Supergirl. They want Flash to be Flash. They want Arrow to be Arrow.
Right.
I completely understand. But when the stuff that happened on Flash happened, you heard mentions of it. Like, they didn't go crazy with it.
What happened with the introduction of the Flash? What happened with the introduction of the Flash is Barry Allen actually came on an episode of Arrow before the Flash even existed. It was a season before, in fact, and was an episode. It was called The Scientist in season 2. Season 2 of Arrow. Barry was there, and they set it up, and they had the lightning strike. Everything that happened to Barry at the end of the Arrow episode, and then he went into a coma. That was the last we heard of him. And then when Flash started, it started right from that moment. So it was already contained in the universe. So now what Cleo's saying here is, yes, every show is its own individual entity, but the fact that there's never been a mention of the fact that Superman exists in this universe on either of those two shows is slightly problematic in storytelling.
That really just comes down to, real world issues. Mm-hmm. They didn't know that this was going to be a thing.
Right.
Because Flash and Arrow don't reference, Smallville or...
Smallville is not in the same universe.
Well, or the Adventures of Lois and Clark, or anything else that ever existed before. And Supergirl didn't even exist in this universe when those were going on.
Right. Well,
now
Supergirl was actually in Smallville.
So you can't actually have... It would be more like retroactive continuity if they tried to add...
But that's what I mean. It's like we've been in the Arrowverse for 4 years, and hey, by the way, there's just been this alien flying around the world. We didn't think it was important to mention.
Right. I mean, but there could be reasons for that, and they could probably explain that somehow, because they've been hinting at the fact about Green Lantern and stuff, and you could kind of say the same thing because Green Lantern,
Well, no, because Green Lantern isn't a thing on Earth yet.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not to cross brands or anything, but it's the same issue the MCU is having with Spider-Man. Spider-Man lives in New York City. Where the hell was he during the invasion of New York City? Oh, well, they're explaining it away as he was at this such and such whatever. He was a little baby. He wasn't old enough. Whatever they're going to say.
I'm sure they could find some way of explaining it, and the characters were just too focused or whatever. But,
right.
When it comes down to it, that's a minor technicality in the grand scheme of things. The hard part is going to actually be syncing up the fact that Arrow has a story that's got to go on, Flash has a story that's got to go on, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which is starting this holiday season, has got its own story it's got to go on, and Supergirl, and then they have to find a way to mesh all 4 of these shows to have a continuing story together. So right now they're just focusing on Supergirl being Supergirl, and it's its own separate thing.
I don't really think they're going to be as cohesive as the MCU is. I mean, they'll probably reference each other, but it'll probably be stops at that.
Yeah. So, what did you think of Melissa? What's her last name?
Benoist.
Benoist.
Yeah.
Melissa Benoist as Kara, yeah.
She's great.
I love how she's awkward and
really
clumsy.
Funny.
That was another thing they mentioned. That commentary was they called it Benoist levels.
Mm-hmm.
Because she can be as straight laced as Clark Kent was, or she can be as super awkward as you saw her be on Glee and all this other stuff. She can. So they did like several shots, the same scene, but just various levels of awkwardness.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so like that one with her and Jimmy Olsen, where he's like, "No, I'm not Jimmy, I'm James." And they're talking about the photography and all that. They said they shot that with 6 different awkwardness levels and just went with the one they liked best.
Nice.
Just little things like that.
So I liked.
I mean, there's always in certain versions of Clark, he's been a little bumbling and a little bit of a
right
of a doof. So
no, I definitely like Melissa. I like the level of awkwardness, but I am gonna say I'm disappointed only in the fact that one of the original people who were considered for the role was Claire Holt, who is my future ex-girlfriend. She plays Rebecca on The Vampire Diaries and the originals. So the original body of Rebecca, not the other actress that is currently inhabiting a body. But I would have loved to seen Claire in that role, and I think she would have been phenomenal. So
now, one thing about casting that I really appreciated is Dean Cain is in the show.
Yes.
He is Kara's father, basically.
Yep. Yeah,
and
Jeremiah.
The actress who plays the mother was in a version of Supergirl in the 80s.
Right. And apparently in Smallville too, or something. I don't really know.
Oh.
They had mentioned. I don't know if that's true or not. If they mentioned a reference to that. It's like, yeah, she was in Smallville too.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, because Dean Cain was he was Superman in Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was really cool.
I will always consider him to be Superman. I don't care, Henry Cavill or that guy that played in Smallville. I don't care,
Yeah.
Dean Cain is always Superman. That's just to me. That's the way it is.
Yeah. I really liked Mechad Brooks, who played James Olsen. Absolutely love it. And
Jimmy. He's always going to be Jimmy to me.
Jimmy is reserved for family,
Yeah.
So he's James for now.
They mentioned that it is pointed out saying that he is James Olsen.
Mm-hmm.
But there are several characters throughout the show that call him Jimmy.
Right.
Just because Jimmy Olsen is so well known in the Superman.
Yes.
That there are certain characters that only know him as Jimmy, and there are certain people who just say Jimmy and they can't edit it around or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I loved his whole story. I love how he went with the mission but didn't reveal it to Kara.
Right. I knew though. I didn't know that Clark had sent him, but I knew he knew that she powered and stuff and was from Krypton. There's no way he could not know.
Well, because I know in certain versions, especially the older TV show, like the original Superman TV show and stuff, they Jimmy didn't know about Superman.
Yeah.
So I was curious how they were going to end up playing that off. Like, is he going to know? Isn't he going to know? And I like the direction that they went. So.
I also like how they never said the word Superman.
Yeah, and when they showed him, and they referred to him as Kal-El or him or however.
Yeah.
When I love that they didn't actually cast an actor. I love that because when they're going to cast an actor for that role, because it's inevitable, they have to at some point. When they do that, it's going to be because he's going to be a bigger part of the Flash, Arrow, Supergirl verse. And
I hope they save him for Justice League.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Don't have him not involved in anything until there's a Justice League show or
100%. I mean, because to be completely honest, we're between the movies, Smallville, and other iterations of Superman. we're probably more burnt out than anything on Superman.
On Superman.
On anything. That includes
Arguably
Batman. That includes Batman and Spider-Man.
I don't know. I feel like Batman and Spider-Man have had more.
Batman's had a lot of movies and stuff like that, but between the 5 movies that Spider-Man, has been in, I'm not saying Spider-Man's overtaking him by any means, but Superman, because of the amount of TV shows and all, and like 10 seasons of Smallville, plus all the movies and everything, Superman is 100% the most burnt out character. And
Superman.
I guess my opinion, but I think he's just been in more media.
He was the superhero before superheroes hit mainstream.
Yeah.
So we've had so many more Superman. It's been like a constant presence since the 70s.
Yeah, it is. So to keep him on the back burner is very, very smart, and to not cast an actor is even smarter. So I love that. What did you think about Kara's sister, Alex?
I liked her. I did.
Yeah, it was kind of. I liked her as a character, as a sister, and I liked their sister bickering.
Right.
I didn't really so much like her as the federal agent.
Yeah, I mean,
did they say what the organization was called?
Yeah, it's the It's the DEO, Department of Extraterrestrial Operations.
Because it feels like Cadmus to me.
Kinda.
It's kind of. I don't think it really has a corollary in the DC universe.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be Cadmus, and it wouldn't be Checkmate. It wouldn't be, really anything that we know so far.
Yep.
So
I mean, it could morph into it. It 100% can.
Right.
Oh yeah, because it feels like that guy and Amanda Waller would be best friends.
Right.
Yeah. The thing with the sister is, even watching this the second time, because I kind of forgot for the first bit of it.
Yeah.
I forgot she was involved in that organization, and I raged at her after yelling at Kara for saving her life. Like, I was like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Like, I almost walked out of the room twice. I remember doing that the first time I watched it, and I did it again the second time because I forgot about the government agent part.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting when they got to that point in the commentary that I watched, that it was like the writing and the acting they talk about how hard it was to get it on point for being great, grateful that your life is saved, but you also have your actual real life job to consider, and now your sister is being hunted by 30 supervillains, or however many they count.
Right.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. She knew the organization, and she knew that her boss didn't like aliens, so she wanted to protect Kara from him. Kind of.
Yeah.
Doesn't justify it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like with him, they was like, we're kind of going for a racist but towards aliens thing.
Yeah, it worked.
And he's going to work out of that later on in the season. But right now it's more of like, protecting Earth, and all you see is the scumbags. You don't see, you got one good alien, and you got 50 million, however many bad aliens. Yeah, he's going to be kind of anti-alien.
I actually said out loud, like, after the last conversation that him and the sister had, I was like, "Sir, kindly go fuck yourself."
Right.
Yeah. What about Kara's boss?
Oh God.
Kat.
She's like the devil wears Prada.
Yeah.
I can't even.
She's the founder of media conglomerate Catco. That's not vain at all.
No, I like the concept for the character that they outlined. Mm-hmm. It was really, really good, because it's like they wanted Calista Flockhart to do it, so it was like written for her. But then they wanted they said they wanted to redefine the whole concept of girl in the Supergirl, because they know people would get upset and they would think, it's like however, the Tumblr people get angry and stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's misogynist and
yeah. So they wanted her to be, very powerful. They wanted her to be rich. The things that she said there at the end in that whole thing, like the rich, powerful, hot, all that stuff, that come from the Warner Brothers president when he watched the screen test of Callista doing this stuff. He's like, yeah, she's hot, she's powerful, she's just whatever, she's rich, she's. And so they just started throwing that into there. It's like, this is what they're trying to head off at the pass, so to speak, of the redefinitions that people are going to throw at it.
Yeah, and I love the subtle, I guess it's not really subtle, the not so subtle foreshadowing that she's just like, oh, well, if you want to save their jobs, go find me a hero,
Right.
Go save this paper. It's like, yeah. I will. Fine.
Yeah.
She wasn't really sold into being the hero until she realized that her sister was going to die.
That's true. She did not have any plans of being a hero until that.
Yeah. I loved Kara's coworker, Winn Schott Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love do you possibly want to go get dinner tonight? It's just, I don't know, I loved it. He's the awkward, and then he when Kara decides to tell him, because she considers him as her really her only friend outside her sister, obviously. Goes up on the roof, calls him up on the roof. He's like, get me, make this quick, I don't want to be on the roof. And the car like jumps and scares the shit out of him. Yeah, and then before that, the line where he was just like, oh, so you're gay. That's why you turned me down for a date.
I smacked myself in the head when he said that. So I was like, of course you would think that.
I love that. It was like just the jumping to conclusions, like, yeah. There's something huge I want to tell you. It's life altering. It's
no one else knows.
No one else knows, and it's so important to my life. You're a lesbian. That's why you don't like me. Yeah. It's like, no, dude, this has nothing to do with you.
That just goes to show, that one scene goes to show his mentality better than anything else that they showed.
You are 100% right. And I love his character, but I don't want it to turn into some stupid, oh, you friend zoned me piece of crap.
No, like, it's not. That's not what it's going to be, because if what I've read suits correctly, it's kind of going to be a love triangle between him and James.
Well,
he's going to fall in love with James?
Clearly. That's exactly what I meant.
No, she's more professionally oriented with James. Like, they're going to have very close relationships.
Just as bad.
But it's not going to be like a romantic thing, apparently. What they were saying.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a love triangle between the three of them. So let's talk about the villain.
The villain that died?
Yeah.
Well, we also saw the dude he was talking to on whatever weird alien.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. He was a good setup. Good setting the tone of the rogues gallery, so to speak, that they'll go against, because he's not too powerful, and most of his stuff was in the axe and not in him.
I really like the axe, by the way. It's awesome.
Yeah. I liked how they worked that axe, and like, oh yeah, that's got a atomic engine in it, and it's going at this temperature, and you can make it explode with your heat rays.
Yeah, his name was what, Vartox?
Yeah. Vartox. Yeah.
So I just love the fact that she encountered, number one, another alien, because he'd been hiding there for the last 12 years. So it wasn't just like, oh, whatever crime, whatever she's stopping. Number two, I love the fact that there was no kryptonite involved whatsoever.
No.
Because that's my biggest pet peeve with Superman stuff.
Wait, but the stuff they shot Kara with was green. I assume that was kryptonite.
That's from the government organization. That is kryptonite.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was kryptonite.
I meant from the villain.
The villain's not using it.
Yeah. No, because that is my biggest thing with Superman and the whole universe. Superman is Krypton. You know, this stuff that weakens them or whatever. That's why they're not so strong on their planet. Correct? Like that's the whole.
Well, the yellow sun.
The sun.
Right. It's the combination of the yellow sun, but I feel like
their planet had a red sun.
Okay, but Krypton comes from kryptonite, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Kryptonite comes from Krypton. So it's basically fragments of their home planet that is showing up in the thing. It's supposed to be this very rare mineral in substance, and every time something in Superman comes up, every villain happens to have kryptonite handy.
In a lot of versions, there are explanations. A lot of it will be synthetic kryptonite,
right?
Or like.
Right, but that's still, to me, is just very bad storytelling. When you need to use kryptonite as a device plot. This time, kryptonite was not needed for the villain to succeed in his plan, you know, and he clearly was stronger than Kara, and I love that. Loved it.
The main reason why you see kryptonite used so much in Superman is because Superman has... I mean, technically he was first, but he has the Wolverine complex where nothing can hurt him at all ever, except for this one thing, and that is his only flaw.
Right.
And so anytime you need to bring him down, you use that one flaw.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't like Superman. It's honestly why I don't like Superman.
Kara is basically a normal person. I mean, she would be considered a superhero.
Kryptonite. Yeah, she's still weak to kryptonite, though.
She would be considered a superhero because she's Kryptonian, but she's not really the superhero level, you know.
Yeah.
That we would know.
You mean because she hasn't trained or used her powers in the last?
Right. I just like how this villain was evenly matched with her. However, because she's not into her powers, he actually overpowered her.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I really loved about it. And then I loved that she, being the underdog, still found like a weakness to exploit. And that's what I found really cool about this. And I want to see how this continues on throughout the show, because there's going to be a point where she's just strong. And I don't want every single villain that comes in every week to have to use kryptonite, is my point.
Right.
You know, so I like the fact that there's equal footing in terms of the aliens that are coming in that she's battling, and really has to find their individual weakness to defeat them.
Another good point on that would be that at least it seems like this first season, all of our villains are going to be the breakouts from the Kryptonian jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they would be weakened on kryptonite as well as her.
Right.
So that's not going to be a plot MacGuffin so much.
They're not all Kryptonian.
It will, and it's going to be used by the government agency.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're not all Kryptonian. That guy that she fought was not from Krypton.
Right.
He was just on jail in Krypton.
Right. Yeah, a lot of it is just they have feuds with the Kryptonians, not necessarily our Kryptonians themselves. That's not to say that there aren't Kryptonians amongst them. We don't know that.
Like evil auntie.
Yeah,
like her aunt.
Exactly. Which was the final scene of the episode, which is really cool.
Which, interestingly enough, is the same actor that plays her mom.
Yep. They're twinsies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kind of pointed that out in the commentary. I was like, oh, well, I guess that makes sense.
I wonder if that's going to be used to exploit, because you saw how Kara reacted to the hologram.
Yeah, probably.
So.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff in this show. Lots of stuff.
I am going to say I 100% enjoyed it. It was really good, but compared to like The Flash, and I don't like it as much as The Flash's first episode, the pilot for The Flash, but I like it more than Arrow's pilot. I'll put it
I think this was a phenomenal pilot, and they managed to put so much stuff in the first episode and not have it feel cramped.
I really
think their success.
I didn't like Arrow's pilot episode at all, so that's not really saying a lot to me.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, oh, he's crashed and he's this super playboy millionaire Bruce Wayne wannabe, but yet he crashed like.
You're totally hurting Cleo's feelings right now.
I don't know what you're talking about. This show's flawless.
The first pilot episode, not anything after that.
No. I completely understand. And when I first started watching that show, I was 1,000% on board because it was so cheesy and so cliche, and I fucking loved it. Yeah. And everyone looked at me like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No, the show is perfect. Leave me alone."
Yeah, I was coming off a different tone when the first time I watched Arrow, because I was watching Smallville and I loved the actor that played that. To me, the Green Arrow in Smallville was the entire, like, holding that show together in the end when it was like being awful, when that show was just downright awful. I was tuning in literally to find out what was going on with Green Arrow every week. So then when Arrow became a spin-off thing and they were doing their own show for it and they changed up actors, because they rebooted it. But when I first watched that pilot, I go, this isn't the same guy. Fuck this guy. Fuck him. Like, I wanted nothing to do with it, so I already went in with a bad taste in my mouth. Stopped watching it. I came back now, years later, couple years. It's been what? I think 4 years now since that launched. Yeah. So I came back now. I've been catching up over the summer, and I have a completely different attitude toward it, and a lot of that is because of what The Flash has done. So I feel like people are going to see the success of Flash and Arrow and stuff like that that may not have already watched it and watched Supergirl, and then when next season comes around and there's some possible tie-ins, then it's going to be, crunch time, and they got to catch up on 2 seasons of Flash, 4 seasons of Arrow, and a season of Legends of Tomorrow to, like, get the whole universe, and then watch the web series Vixen. So, there's going to be... That's why I made sure to jump on the Supergirl bandwagon now, so I don't have to play catch-up later when it all gets tied together. So...
One of the coolest things, like, when I was watching the commentary... Because I didn't mean to watch it, honestly. It just started playing after I watched the first episode. It was on the CBS website. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I might as well watch this. Found out that this show, they have the goal to use as little CGI as possible. Mm. So most everything you see is actual sets and actual stunt workers. Like that first thing where they have the baby Superman shot out, that's real. Like, very little CGI. Like, you can probably guess what the CGI is, but most of it's real.
Right.
They actually went to space to film that.
Yeah, they actually went to Krypton on location to film this. Mm-hmm. Now, they
built a real working spaceship too.
Yeah. That part where the government shoots the kryptonite darts into Kara, and she falls out of the sky and hits the car. That's an actual stunt worker. They dropped the stunt woman. I can't remember how far they said, and she literally hit the windshield, busted it, and rolled off.
Yeah, that's great, and I hope they stick true to that. Like, it's a goal of theirs, and I hope they really keep it, because I remember going into Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, hearing, we're not doing CGI. We're gonna film old school like we filmed all the other Indiana Jones, and I was really excited for that. And then there's a scene with Shia LaBeouf swinging around with CGI monkeys, and I almost walked out of the theater. So,
actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. So I really appreciate when they go that extra step to get real shots.
Another cool thing that I thought was cool, even though other people might not, is that the show is actually set in Los Angeles. National City is Los Angeles, as far as not maybe in that universe's map, but that's where they're shooting everything, and all the buildings they're shooting are like all the outside shots are actual shots, and the Catco building is an actual building.
That's awesome.
And another detail they insisted on getting right was because Warner Brothers and CBS and all that have such strong ties with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you see a TV news anchor on TV, that's an actual TV news anchor from the CBS show in LA.
The guy with the white hair. I knew him.
Every one of the people when they show news on Supergirl, those are all real news anchors for CBS in LA.
That's actually really interesting.
They're all pulling
now,
just because of their contract, with CBS, they're able to be on the show and do it right. So it's actual journalists,
That is awesome.
That's something that NBC shows do all the time.
Yep. Yeah. I love it. I love that little extra attention to detail.
Why hire an actor when you have a paid professional already on your payroll?
Yep.
That does it for a living, knows exactly the right mannerisms and the right delivery. Yeah.
For them, it's not acting; it's doing their job.
Right. It's just here's the news. Deliver this news.
Yep.
And
whether it's fictional news or real news, they're going to read it the same way. So.
And they had said something
and
about...
I dare you to tell the difference.
Right.
No, I can't.
We're not talking about FAUX news.
Right.
Fox News.
Oh.
No, Fox. I'm going to pronounce it that way. Even though it's faux. It's Fox News.
They said something about the flight number 237.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that has some kind of relevance.
Right.
But I don't know what that relevance is.
So that we lost Cleo. I don't know where she went. But so what you're telling me is the scene with the plane and Kara saving the plane, that was not CGI at all. They actually taught an actress how to fly and had her twist the plane.
Right. Now they said that had about 10 hours of them arguing back and forth and debating on how to do that shot and just how much they wanted the plane to wrinkle. And they said the decision to turn the plane that was decided as, okay, this is your first time doing this, okay, it's going to run through the bridge and it's going to knock the wings off. What do you do to stop that? Oh, we'll just turn it so the wings go through. Like, just going through the whole thought process and okay, they put 12 hours of work, and all these people just for that little few seconds of shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty great. This is definitely going to be a show I'm going to be watching. I love it. So, I 100% recommend it. I think just from the way you two have been talking, that it is on your recommended viewing list as well.
Yeah.
And, it's for really those of you that didn't know it existed, like myself and Cleo, probably check out that commentary. It seems like it was definitely worth watching.
It's on CBS's website. It just says pilot commentary, and it's got like 4 or 5 people on there that are on the production crew and the editors and just people like that, and they give all kinds of good backstory. It's really good.
Yeah. So I really I hope they continue to do that. I hope that's a regular thing that they carry on with all the episodes, because that would be really cool to see like a behind the scenes look. Because I'm one of those people, believe it or not, that listen to the director's commentary on the DVDs.
Well, the coolest thing, and I can't get into all of them because I don't really remember all of them, was they would, they're literally just watching the show, and it's the fully released copy. But yet they're like, oh well, here we had this scene doing this, but we had to cut it due to time. There was another scene in between these 2 shots that did this, but we had to cut it due to time. This actually took place. This because there was a thing in that fight scene, the very first one at the power plant, where that fight scene was twice as long.
Right.
But then they decided to cut it back due to the editing, and then they realized they cut it back too far. So that part where they went inside the building and had that little exchange and then went back outside, that was added later.
Right.
Because they realized they cut too much and had to add more back.
Yep.
So it's just little things, little tidbits like that.
Yeah.
Really kind of interesting.
Yeah. So I mean the whole thing toward the end with Kara getting Kal-El's baby blanket.
Yeah.
To use for a cape, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of set the tone for me.
What did he use then? Like, does he have a?
I think he had a whole suit made. His parents. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Right. We don't have his origin, so.
Yeah, we don't. So.
You know, that was really sweet.
Apparently, that fabric will not rip.
Yeah.
So. It's
probably also bulletproof and everything proof.
And I must say, the scene with her trying on different outfits was probably my favorite scene of the.
Oh my god, because they used the old Supergirl costumes too.
Yeah. Probably my favorite scene of the whole episode. So.
Yeah.
They said there was a lot of things with the headband. It's like because there was like a huge debate wanting to get on the show with the actual uniform, have the headband, and yet they didn't. They ended up not going that direction, so they put that as like the first scene. Yeah, the first thing she tries on.
Against the headband. That hasn't been a Supergirl thing for years.
Well, there was like a major push to get them to do that on this show.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that's what they were talking about. They're like half the creative crew wanted the headband. No, it just didn't win.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah. So, you guys have anything else?
Very excited for the show.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to watch the next one because that didn't get spoiled months ago.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this one, like, I know Cleo, you stayed away from it. You had nothing to do with it. You know. Me and Erica watched it the day it was released.
Well, because I knew if I watched it, I would want the whole season, and it would drive me fucking insane until it actually came out.
Yeah. So I was able to put it on the back burner, and then rewatching it again, I got really excited for it again, and I'm more excited now, obviously, for the second episode, because, as Erica said, we're going in blind. We don't know. Unlike this, that we already had this teased a while ago. So, but, yeah. All right, so that about does it. Cleo, where can not only where can the people, where can we find you?
What, you do not see me?
No, you're just you're caught in the abyss right now.
I put my camera back on.
You're where Kara was at the beginning of the episode. You're in like
the negative zone. Am I in the negative zone?
You are in the negative zone.
Which I can't wait for them to explore more. It's gonna
okay. All of a sudden, wow, we found you. You're out of the negative zone.
Did you bring prisoners with you?
Yeah. Where can the people find you, Cleo, now that you've left the negative zone?
They can find me at Cleo Moto talking about my experiences in the negative zone.
Erica, where can the people find you?
On Twitter and pretty much everywhere else at EricaRain7.
Excellent. You can find me down below at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. Thank you. You can also find us on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASO TV Podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Till next time. See you guys later. This was actually in LA? Like they said that they were in Los Angeles.
Right.
So this was
National
one of
City.
Huh? Yeah.
You mean in the show? Or?
Yeah, no, in the show.
Show, it's National City.
National City, okay.
Yeah, the setting is National City.
Because I was going to say, if this is actually legit in LA, that this is one of the few DC universes, or DC shows that the city is in a real life place.
Real cities are Marvel. Fake cities are DC.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple cities in DC universe that do exist, but none in the TV show yet. Motor City, I think, is because that's Detroit's nickname, even though they're not calling it, Detroit. Yeah. They're still calling it. So yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for watching.